All right, good morning, everyone. You should be able to see my screen now. So if you can, please let me know. All right, perfect. Okay, so my name is Rhea Ramprashad, and I am part of Agent Marketing System, and I will be teaching you guys a little bit more about how to convert online leads. Now, in today's session, I'll be going over a little bit more about, very briefly, about what agent marketing system is, because some of you may or may not know, any upcoming events that we are going to be having. I'll also tell you a little about myself, and then we'll go through the different stages of lead conversion. Now, I just want to preface today's session with today's session on converting online leads is not going to be about scripting. I know you guys see scripting webinars all the time, what to say, but I want to focus in on what you guys should be doing with the leads, aside from when you are talking to them, because that is going to be a huge part of your success with converting these leads. Now, also, if you guys have any questions at all during today's session, please use the chat function. And I will be checking it throughout the session. And if you guys do find that there's any background noise, please make sure that you are muted. Okay, so agent marketing system essentially is what we like to call a resource hub for real estate agents. We do understand that there is a lot of products, a lot of resources, a lot of services that are out there, and it does tend to be a little bit overwhelming for our realtor partners. So what we've done is kind of created a hub, or we've consolidated all of the resources that are out there and have made a super package for you guys. So we actually are there to help you guys with your marketing. So for those of you who need websites or single property sites, we actually have a system for that, which actually gives you unlimited websites and single property sites. In addition to that, we know aside from marketing, we can have websites, but how do we drive traffic to it? We do have amazing partners for lead generation. So whether you want to do Google or whether you want to do Facebook, whether you just want to promote yourself or a specific listing, we have amazing partners for that. And they kind of do things a little bit differently. And then in addition to that, so not only do we do marketing, provide you with lead gen, but we want to make sure that you are mastering your skills. So we focus a lot on training and skills development. Now, we do training on our own systems, how to use our websites and single property sites, but we want to go further. So we do like to teach you guys about scripting. We like to teach you about business management, business planning. We like to teach you about all the different technology that is out there and what can really make your business more efficient and more productive. Now, some of the upcoming training that we do have is we have Charlene De Silva, who's going to be teaching you about mastering Google reviews. So if you're not currently doing reviews or you're not getting as many reviews as you want, maybe you don't even know the power of Google reviews, you definitely want to attend that session. That is on Wednesday next week at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Lauren Andrews, who's also part of the agent marketing system, will be going over the 3 truths of technology. So this is actually a powerful presentation, which I guess it was more for the shift that's going to be happening, what was supposed to happen in a couple of years due to the industry itself and due to the demographics of who will be buying and selling. But with today's current situation, that has all been fast-tracked, and your 3 truths of technology is a must. So if you're not using technology, probably about 50 to 60% of you will be out of the market, because that is where the real estate industry is heading. Now, Lauren, the week after, so that will be in the first week of May, we'll be going over top tech tools. So yes, we will teach you a little bit more about agent marketing system, but we also want for you to see other tech tools that are available that will, again, help you in your business. Our goal is to make you more efficient and more productive. So it'll go over photo editing tools that you can be using. We'll go over different marketing tools, things that you could be using to help you with your social media posts, so whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So it's kind of an all-inclusive top tech tools, and everything that Lauren will teach you are super easy for you to use. And then last week we did an amazing session on growing your business with systems with Karen Gandhi, and it was so powerful that we actually are going to be bringing her back to do it again. So if you missed out, don't worry, we will be doing it in May. Now, for myself, those of you who may not know me, again, my name is Rhea Ramprashad. I have been in the real estate industry for over 15 years, started out at front desk and moved quite quickly into being somebody's admin, learning everything that real estate agents should be doing. And then I moved further into being an accountability coach at a Remax brokerage in Mississauga. So I am completely sales trained. I've learned everything that you guys need to know and probably a little bit more because usually your admins should know a little bit more than you do. And then after that, I actually worked at another technology company that was targeting real estate agents that solely focused on online leads. And I was there as the head trainer for about 5 years, had an accountability group of about 1,300 agents across Canada. And my goal there was making sure that they're converting their online leads. So I thought, why not bring that knowledge into today's session and really show you guys how you can increase your conversion ratios. Now, online leads, as you guys all know, are one of the hardest leads in real estate to convert. On average, the conversion rate is 1 to 2%. And that would usually be, so out of every 100, you're converting 1 or 2 leads. Now, from working with online leads and realtors who were trying to convert the online leads, these were the 4 areas that I found were the biggest struggles or challenges for agents. So one was the expectation or the frustration that they have with leads. And for me, the frustration really lies in what your expectations were. So how are you calling them? What did you think that online leads would essentially be? Communication, big. Again, everybody just believes we're going to have online leads. Everybody's going to want to talk to us. And in fact, about 30% of your online leads are going to give you completely false information, which means a fake or invalid email and a fake or invalid phone number. That does leave you with 70% of the leads giving you a portion of it, whether it's a cell or an email that is accurate. Now, timeline, I know all of you are trained, and that kind of leads into the next challenge, which is the training. All of you guys are trained to look for the leads who are ready to go right now, your hot leads, those who need to go from in 0 to 60 days. And to be quite honest, the expectation of that with online leads is not going to work for you if that's how you're looking at online leads. Most online leads on average are in a time frame of moving in 7 to 18 months out from when they first registered. So if you're expecting those leads to turn right now, then it's not going to work well for you. And that's one of the reasons why that conversion ratio in the first 12 months is just 1 to 2%. Now, once you learn how to deal with online leads effectively, that conversion ratio can actually increase from 3 to 10%. Now, again, guys, if you have any questions at all, please feel free and just ask. I will be checking it periodically, so if you feel like there's a question that you need to know the answer to right now, let me know and I will be going ahead and answering them. So with online leads, when I was training specifically on this, the one thing I would always tell agents is that there's 2 things that you don't know about that lead. We know if they filled out a form, we know for sure with 100% certainty that they have an interest in real estate. Nobody goes on Google, nobody's clicking on Facebook, filling out a form if they don't have any plans to buy or sell. So if you know that, that makes the and you keep that in mind, that will make this process that much easier. Now, what are the two unknowns? Very, very simply, number one is we have no idea when they're going to transact. And a lot of times the lead themselves don't know. Number two, we don't know who they are going to use to represent them, which means we don't know which agent they're going to choose, agent or broker, that they're going to choose to help them buy or sell. What we can foresee is that if they have filled out a form online, you can bet that you are not the only person that they registered for. Most online leads do not understand that you guys have access, pretty much access, the same access to all of the listings. So normally they're gonna register on 4 or 5 sites. So if you know that they are registering or 4 or 5 minimum, that means that they are in the database of at least 4 or 5 other agents in your market, in your industry. So you always have to think about, what can I do differently from these potential other 4 or 5? Now, just thinking about what can you do differently, and it really is going to be the consistency in which you deal with these leads is going to be the game changer. I have seen leads come in and 3 years later contact an agent because the agent has been reaching out to them and they do the transaction that way. So just keep in mind, with all of your leads, the consistency in your follow-up is going to be the difference on whether you get the sale or not. So with that being said, I'm coming from a premise of agents who already are doing online leads. So you already have started, maybe you've stopped in the past, but you have that database that is sitting there. And it could even be, these are even great tips, honestly, for any lead that you have. You obviously will just have to change it slightly. But step one is cleaning up that database. So one of the most important things is trying to figure out who is worth pursuing and who is not. So obviously, the person who has given you a fake phone number and a fake email address, they are not worth pursuing. And the reason why is there is absolutely no way for you to contact them. Now, is everybody else worth your time? In my mind, absolutely. If I can communicate with them in some form or fashion, they are definitely valuable. The difference will be is essentially how often are you going to be reaching out to them. Now, how do we figure out who is worth pursuing and who is not? As I said, did the lead provide me accurate contact information? So if I have a fake phone number and a fake email, that automatically will result in a delete in my mind. If they gave me a valid email, and that's usually going to be 70% of your leads will give you will give you an accurate email, but a fake phone number. About 30% of what's left will have given you an accurate phone number. Now, the next thing is, did the lead share any information regarding their housing needs? So have you ever engaged with this lead? Has the lead ever responded to any communication that you've sent to them? Whether it's a phone call, a text message, an email. Do you know anything further about their situation? Aside from what they've given you in the form that they potentially filled out. So sometimes on your website, you're going to just ask them for contact information. Then there could be another landing page or another form on your site where it asks them a little bit more information. What are they looking for? Where do they want to move, etc. Now, if you have a website where it kind of just is a general contact information form, then you would go further and say, has the lead ever filled out additional capture forms on the site. So sometimes you'll see duplicate leads come in because the person has registered for multiple things on your site. In that case, I would say that that is an engaged lead because they're on your site still. And which leads us into number 4. So once you figure out from there who are your leads that you can actually continue to communicate with, those again are the leads that we're going to be worth pursuing. Now we've got to break those set of leads down, because I know you guys are probably thinking, Rhea, that's a ton of leads in my system, but now we want to break it down further. So there's a couple of different ways that we want to break it down. Number 1 is communication. How is the lead communicating with us? What is their preferred method? Why is this important? Because we then know in the future that should be our primary communication method with them. Now, what do I mean by that? I have seen leads who are receiving emails and are receiving text messages, but they respond to a text message and not the email. That would let me know I have a better chance of getting a hold of that person via text than email. I've also seen leads who text in 1 word. So they'll answer you with a word. That person, to me, I can tell you right off the bat, is not a texter, and you probably want to do calling or emailing to them. The person who responds via text in full sentences, that is your texter. So you know for sure going forward, that is how you want to communicate with them. You also want to keep in mind, when you do get a hold of them, when are they traditionally responding? Is it on weekends? Is it in the evening? That might help you decipher obviously when they're available, because they're communicating with you at that specific time that they are free. Now, future opportunity, that is a great one. That is, where does that lead stand in terms of their timeline? And are they looking for themselves or are they looking for someone else? So that could be that that buyer is a warm lead, meaning that they're buying in the next 3 to 6 months. Are they a hot lead, which is the ones that you guys want, who have said that they want to buy in the next 90 days? And then it can be a colder lead. Maybe they're looking out another year in advance. There's going to be a lot of people who are coming in who have that analytical researcher mentality, and they want to research everything a year, 2 years in advance of them actually moving. So when they are ready, they know that they are prepared. So you guys have to keep in mind that there are different personalities at play, and everyone's going to react differently. There's going to be somebody who decided last night that they want to buy a home or they want to sell and buy, and you're just going to catch them at the right time. The other thing is you have to focus on who are they looking for. So a lot of times you're going to find people are coming in who are looking for a relative. They're looking for a friend. Maybe it's a parent looking for a child, or a grandparent looking for a grandchild. So that also affects the way that you're going to be communicating with them. Obviously, if they're looking for someone else, the goal is to say, hey, would you mind giving me the other person's contact information as well, so I can add them on the communication that I'm sending to you? Because you definitely want to make sure that you are going to the source of who's actually buying or selling. Now, the situation, so why are they looking to move? Nobody just gets up and decides to move for no reason. There's always a reason. So you want to get to the motivation. Learning the lead's motivation will definitely help you in conversion. Most agents will have the conversation and find out what they're looking for. What they're looking for does not matter, because that can change on a whim. I know as I was buying, I started off looking for one thing and ended up buying something completely different. But it was the motivation that the agent had that kept me on pace and kept me in communication with them, because they were focused on my end goal and not technically what the details of my search were. Now, if they're selling, you also have to find out if they're buying. Are they going to be using the same agent for both? A lot of times you might hear that they have an agent who's already helping them in the sell of their home, but do they have somebody who's helping them with the buy? Sometimes those can be different people. Now, the last thing is lost leads. So whether it's a buyer, so I usually separate this in my systems as a buyer lost and a seller lost. And I do this because I need to know why I lost them. Is it things that I could have done differently? Is it my communication could have been done differently? Is it that maybe they've lost their job and that could be a future opportunity later on? Could it be that they have credit issues? Could there be another reason that they have either maybe they've put the purchase on hold? What can I do to either better my business and better myself so I don't make those same mistakes next time? Now, these seem to you probably like not many labels. So what I'm going to do is on the next slide, I'm going to actually show you what my list of labels, tags, or groupings are. So this is how I would group leads in my CRM system. So I actually do break it down by communication, if they're a future opportunity, if it's a lost transaction, their situation. So if you guys do want a copy of the list of my labels, please feel free to email me after today's session. And my direct email is rhea@agentmarketingsystem.ca, and I'll make sure I send it out to you. Yes, this seems like a lot of labels. Yes, it seems like a lot of work, but when you're cleaning up your database, having the labels is going to be imperative. This is going to be the difference of being successful with online leads and unsuccessful. Being able to determine what the tags are, grouping people together, is going to help you expedite your communication with them and help you figure out how frequently you should be talking to somebody. So for example, if I have somebody who is just looking or they're unrealistic, I probably can just go ahead and reach out to them via email or a mass text once a month. If I have somebody who's a little bit warmer of a lead, I probably want to make sure that I'm reaching out to them more frequently. And that could be every other week. Now, one thing I also want to say for online leads, whether somebody is buying or selling, you want to make sure all of your leads are set up on some type of a prospect search. Leads are not registering to learn more about you. What they're looking for are properties, and so what you must send them are properties. That is a great way for you to stay engaged and continue to give them items of value. I do hear some of the trainers out there who traditionally are focused on those hot leads, and it could be open house leads or referral leads. They always tell you don't send listings, but that is the opposite thing that you want to do with online leads. With online leads, we want to give them the listings. The information is out there, so why would we want to give them the opportunity to go elsewhere to find the information? It just doesn't make sense to me. So make sure everybody who's in your system is set up on a prospect search. If they're a seller, you can set them up on a search in their area so they can see what's coming to the market, and they can kind of gauge where they would be market value wise should they decide to sell. The other thing you can do if they're selling is say, hey, I know you're interested in selling it sometime in the future. If you were to move, what would you be looking for? So we can sell them on the future. What is their end goal when they do want to move? And that can be the motivation. And you want to make sure that they're set up, and you can, by all means, for your sellers, you can set them up on 2 different property searches, right? One for where they currently live so they can stay up to date with the market, and the other one on where they want to move next so we can get them fantasizing about what's out there. Now, does anyone have any questions at all in regards to my tags? Any questions or clarification needed? Let me know. Now, step 3, super easy, is which leads are a priority for you. Realistically, I gauge this, the priority level, based on engagement. So I'm going to look at, when I'm following up with leads, is who's recently been engaged. So who recently opened an email that I sent them, who recently looked at properties that I sent them. And then not only that, but who also, let me go back, who also is engaging more. So I might have a lead who's opened one email, let's say in the last week, but then I have somebody else who's been in the system for months and has opened 10 emails or 100 emails. The person who's opening up more is far more engaged than somebody else. And then obviously the people who aren't really opening up anything, they're less engaged, so they're not going to be a priority. Now, if they're not opening anything, does that mean that we delete them? No, that does not mean that. It just means that based on their priority, based on their level of engagement, will also help us determine how frequently we need to continue to reach out to them. So if I have somebody who's super engaged, opening a ton of emails, always looking at my listings, I probably would want them to receive listings, let's say every day or every other day. Let them know that we're searching for them. If I have the person who only opens up an email maybe once a week, then again, let their engagement dictate what your frequency is. Send them listings on a weekly basis. Maybe they're only available on the weekend or whatever their off day is to check their emails. We don't really know their situation. So also, don't make a story up in your head about who the lead is. Just look at the information that they are providing. Oh, 1 second, I see a question. Is there a CRM that's best suited for online leads? Great question. The answer is any CRM is the best one. Every single CRM out there is amazing. They all do essentially the same thing. There are some that will do something a little bit better than the other. There's all different features that might be in one and not in another. But all CRM systems are amazing, and all of them will work for you as long as you put in the work. Now, agent marketing system within our website system, we do have a CRM as well that allows you, and so essentially you want a CRM, which ours does, that allows you to create listing searches for your leads. I definitely prefer having a provider who does the listing searches within their CRM system instead of you always going into your Treb search or whatever board that you're part of. And the reason is a lot of the boards have an expiration date on the searches, and sometimes you may forget, especially for your long-term leads, you may forget to start it up again or keep it going. So make sure you have a system that will allow you to do listing searches in there. You also want to make sure that your system allows you to do drip campaigns. So one that already has amazing drip campaigns in it. B, one that allows you to customize drip campaigns, one that allows you to do tasks, and then of course, one that allows you to put labels in. So if you have a system that does that, then you are more than okay with using whatever you want. Now, if you have the CRM system, it only works if you use it. So what do I mean by that? I mean, the CRM system is your gold mine for business. It absolutely is one of the best things that you have. So you have to make sure, guys, that you use this every single day. I am so passionate about CRM systems. It should be something that is opened first when you turn on your computer. And your CRM system, unfortunately, has to be online. It can, or in an app. It cannot be a paper list of people. That's not going to allow you to effectively communicate with online leads. You're going to be overwhelmed if you try to do it with pen and paper. You have to have it on the computer. You have to have it in an app. You want the drip campaign, so there's going to be an autopilot feature. It's working for you without you actually doing anything. And with online leads, it's very easy to go from 0 leads to 300 leads very quickly. And what you can do when you have about 5 to 30 leads is going to be different when you have 300 leads. So you want to make sure you have a system that will allow you to effectively manage your time at the same time effectively reaching out to your leads as well. Now, adding leads to a drip campaign. So adding leads, everybody's heard about drip campaigns. What are they? How do you use them? How do you create them? Most website providers will have templated drip campaigns set up for you. And I say the word templated because they're there, everybody has them. But what you must do is personalize them. The way that I speak and the way that you speak are going to be very, very different. And I have met people, loved their emails, met them in person, and they were completely different. And I realized quickly I would not want to work with them based on who they were in person. So please make sure that any of your emails represent you. So while we're all at home, a great thing to do is to go through the drip campaigns that you already have in the systems that you're using and personalize them, customize them, make them sound genuine to who you are as a person. Now, drip campaigns should include various things. Emails. Everybody knows your drip campaign is going to be having emails in it. I would also highly, highly recommend that you add some video emails into that system as well. So you can record them on your phone and get them put in, upload them to YouTube. You can use BombBomb, and just make sure that your videos are there as well. Let them see who you are. Let them see that there's a person and a face behind the website and the emails that they're receiving. Number 2, text messages. We already know that text messages have a way better open ratio than any other form of communication. Right now it's at 90%. I'm gonna say it's maybe a little bit higher. Everybody loves text messages. One of the benefits is, especially when you have a text message, people are reading it when they are available, when it's convenient for them. And traditionally, because they're getting a bunch of text messages, they're more likely to remember to respond to yours. There's emails that I read and then I'm off doing something else, and then I totally forget that I was supposed to respond to it. So I know it happens to me. It's got to be happening to you. So text messages, again, a little bit better open ratio. So make sure your provider has a text message capability in that system. Shh. Now, the next thing is voicemails. So you definitely want to make sure that there are pre-recorded voicemails in your drip campaign system. You can't be calling 300 leads. Well, I mean, technically you could, but you have other things to do. So you definitely want to make sure that you have pre-recorded voicemails in your system as well. We actually have a system that does that, and I absolutely love it because a lead will get a voicemail from me and they call me right back. So I love the fact that the lead is coming back to me. And I'm really not doing anything. I've just let kind of the drip campaign go about its business, and I'm getting leads calling me. Now, the final thing is you want to make sure that your drip campaign includes tasks or reminders for you to manually call people. Again, the level of call or the frequency of all of these activities in a drip campaign are based on the lead's timeline and their engagement. If somebody tells you right off the bat that they're just looking, they have no, and even if they say they just looking, I don't necessarily believe it. You want to dig deeper. So let's say the lead says, you know what, I'm a first-time home buyer. I honestly don't have any down payment. I think it's going to take me about a year, 2 years to save what I need to save. That person will be a long-term. They don't need to be communicated with every day, every week. You could probably do that monthly. Now, if somebody tells you, yes, you know what, I'm probably looking in the next couple of months to move, they need more frequent conversation. They need more frequent manual calls being sent out to them. Now, with that as well, guys, you do have to keep in mind with today's uncertainty, you do want to also make sure that you're communicating with the lead, not always on a business level. Let them know that you're a person and just see how they're doing as well. And that's an easy thing to do that might give you a little bit more information about who they are as people as well. And that can help you build rapport. It is very, very difficult to build rapport with people who have signed up a form for your online leads. So building rapport is really, really going to be paramount. So make sure you connect to them. there is a question. How many touch points are needed on average conversion? Oh, yes. So this might surprise you guys. And this is really going to be the difference as to why some agents convert better than others. Typically, most people will call right away. So you should be calling with, they say 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you, especially if you don't have a really good follow-up system, you should be calling within the first minute of that lead registering or sending them a text message like right away. After that, most agents will call one more time or maybe 2 more times, and then they say that lead is a dud. I'm just not going to call them anymore. On average, guys, it takes at least 7 to 12 phone calls before the lead actually answers your phone. That's 7 to 12. So how many of you are actually willing to call your leads up to 12 times knowing you before you've not gotten a response? If you're willing to do that, you will definitely be on the higher end of the conversion ratios. So it's all about as I said in the starting, all about the consistency in the communication. You want to make sure you continue to call. Now, in your drip campaigns, and I'm just saying 7 to 12 phone calls, so that goes under the manual calls. Your drip campaign should have a touch of touch points. Now, usually what I say is your drip campaign should have 48 different actions. So that's 48 actions with a mix of these 4 different things. If somebody is a hot lead, I would just make that frequency where they're getting stuff on a weekly basis, in addition to getting listings, right? So the listings are kind of separate for me. Now, if I have somebody who's a warmer lead, they're not moving for, let's say, another 6 months or so is what their timeline is. Do I create a new campaign? No, I just take the same campaign that I have and I just make sure that each touch point is a little further away from each other. Can be every 14 days, every 20 days. So same content, but we can widen the gap in the communication. If somebody is not moving for a year, 2 year, that can be done on a monthly basis. So reuse what you already have, but make it fit the timeline and the engagement of the lead. Now, I would also recommend that you guys have different drip campaigns based on the person's situation or why they're moving. Are they a first-time home buyer? Are they a move-up buyer? Are they a downsizer? Are they a senior who's going to be retiring? Are they an investor client? All of these things will determine the type of communication that you have. I definitely would not send out information about how to improve your credit score to somebody who's already bought and sold a couple of times. They already know this, but the first-time home buyer doesn't. So make sure your communication is tailored to that group. So again, another reason why having those tags or those labels or the categories are so very important, because you should have drip campaigns tailored towards their situation and their reason for moving. All right, does anybody have questions in regards to how you should be communicating? I know 48 touch points seems like a lot, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely necessary and it will be the difference. Now, one other thing I want to mention is I previously had talked about the person's level of engagement and who's a priority lead. You should be able, aside from what your drip campaign has, you should be able to call your leads outside of the drip campaign task based on their level of engagement. You'll also notice that leads who might have told you that they're moving in, let's say, a year or 2 years, and then all of a sudden they're looking very frequently. Something has changed. I met somebody, I've known them for years, to be honest, and we spoke, I would say, at the end of last year, and they told me, yeah, they're thinking of moving. It's going to be a couple of years out because they need to save. They're going to go on some trips this year, and then they're thinking end of next year, end of 20 or in 2021. And guess what? I spoke to them yesterday. They bought a house and they're actually moving on May 1st. So everybody, you just have to keep in mind that the person's motivation, their timeline can change. Things happen in life and their timelines will change. So you have to be aware of their level of engagement and continue to check that. Okay, so I see another question. Does our team, all of your systems that you guys should have will have some kind of a drip campaign. What I would say is utilize what's there. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Utilize what you already have. Customize it, personalize it. If you find that it is not as many touch points as you want, then add stuff in. So I would say have the emails that are there, add some video emails in. If you're already not doing video, it's definitely a must have. So add some videos in, make sure that your system can send out text messages. Make sure that if you are doing text messages, your system also can do mass text messaging. Mass text messaging is huge. So reason for that is, again, you'll find a ton of leads in the system who really kind of aren't doing anything, or maybe you've not really gotten a hold of them. You're not really sure what's going on. Sending out a mass text message to everybody who you consider a cold lead and just using this template. Are you still looking to buy a home? That in itself will get you a ton of responses. Guaranteed you're going to find people who have already bought, and then you're going to find people who say, yes, I'm actively looking. Now, those people who are actively looking, those will go into your priority. Now, how often should you send out a mass text message or a mass email like that? I would say twice a year. So this will help you determine, again, where everybody's timeline is. Now, step 5, kind of gone through it a little bit, but you want to monitor their activity. Are they responding? How often are they responding? What method of communication are they responding to? Is it the phone calls? Is it the text messages? Is it the emails? Make sure you're constantly updating those tags. So I see people who have a lead, they create the tags, but they leave the tags. You have to update the tags as you have communication with that lead. Another thing I'd actually add in that's not on my tag list is if I have that person's time frame. Let's say that person says that they're looking in 6 months from now to buy. That's their ideal situation. I've had agents who will put in that they're a warm lead. But at some point, if that actual timeline is accurate, some point they're moving from a warm lead to a hot lead, but the agents forget to change the tags. So I have a foolproof system. What I like to do is tag the leads with what year they should be transacting in. So you could label them as hot, warm, cold if you want, but label the year that they should be moving. And then I also like to add in the season. So are they moving in, or you could say like the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, or the end of the year. So even as the timeline is changing because the months are passing, you should still have an accurate depiction of when they're moving. Therefore, if I know somebody was moving in spring, I can quickly search up in my system everybody who's moving in spring of 2020 and reach out to them. Anybody who's supposed to move at the end of the year, I can quickly reach out to them. Do they need anything else from me? Or maybe a new program has come out for first-time home buyers or something of that nature. You can respond to them all in a targeted way. So are they responding? Obviously paramount for you to know, are you spending your time with the right people? I've seen a lot of agents who'll be like, oh, well, you know what, Rhea, this person is constantly opening my emails and looking at listings, but they're not responding to me. Okay, ignore that. not ignore it, but don't put any more effort into it. If they're not responding, they're not responding. Continue to keep them on that drip campaign, continue to send them listings, but focus in on the people who are engaged with you, who are responding to your messages, your emails, your video emails, your text messages. They will always be higher in your priority list than somebody who never responds. But again, the person who never responds, don't delete them. I would be the person who doesn't respond. Why? Because I don't want to bother somebody if I don't feel like I'm ready to move forward. So yes, I'm that researcher. I'm going to check every single thing that you're sending me, but I may not respond until I'm ready. Now, if you've deleted me from your system, there's going to be somebody else who's just going to leave me on that drip campaign, and then I'll reach out when I'm ready. Now, clicks and activity. Which emails are they opening? Are they opening up your content emails? Are they opening up the listings? Which listings are they looking at? How frequently are they looking at listings? All of these things are valuable. Now, one other thing I must say about the listing searches. Generally, when somebody registers, they're looking for a particular type of home. As you guys all know, that usually what they start looking for may not be exactly what they end up with. So you definitely want to make sure you check in with that lead based on their time frame and if anything has changed. Something might have changed. They might have had a new job, so maybe they need to start looking somewhere else. They don't know that they can come to you or that you can change that search for them. So you do want to, again, dive deep into their situation. Now, I know this is not a scripting training, but you definitely want to ask them where they are in the process. Did they just start looking online, and are they doing research? Have they gone out to open houses? Have they spoken to other agents? That in itself will tell you where their motivation and where their timeline is. Somebody who's not looking to move anytime in the near future will not be going to open houses. The person who's just researching online is going to feel free to tell you that. However, somebody who tells you that they're just looking may not be, they might just be telling you that, kind of like what you do when you go into a retail store. You tell them that you're just looking. You're actually there to buy something, but you don't want to be bothered. So if they say that, always dive a little bit deeper. Why are they moving? Try to figure out, where do they work? Where do they currently live? Is the commute time, is that an issue for them? Do they want to decrease that? Or is getting the type of home that they want more important than the distance from where they work? Those are a lot of really good questions to ask, aside from how many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms? Do you want a freehold? Do you want a condo? So you want to dive deep a little bit more. Should they allow? Now, if you feel a little pushback from them, then you kind of end the conversation. Thanks for talking to me. I'm going to update your search, or I'm going to do whatever, and I'll follow up with you in a month or so. So always set the expectation. Let them know that you will be following up with them via phone. Now, the other thing you want to check, are they going on to your website? So yes, are they opening up your emails, but are they visiting your website for other information? You definitely want to focus in on that. Again, that kind of alludes to what I said earlier. Are they filling out additional forms on your site? So if they are, then you know that they are on your website. Sometimes people will never revisit your website again because what you're sending them via your email to their email is more than enough for them. Now, the next thing you want to look at is your email content and give yourself an audit. If you're sending out emails and nobody is responding, the lead are not the problem. It's your emails that are the problem, or it's your text message that is the problem. So you want to look at it and make sure, is what I'm trying to say clear and concise? One of the things you have to keep in mind, everybody's attention span is like this right now. So emails that you're sending out to leads should not be super long. It doesn't really need to sound very professional, but what you want it to make it is short, sweet, to the point, maybe a paragraph or two, nothing longer than that, because nobody is reading it. And the other thing you want to do, again, is make sure it sounds like you. And if you have a hard time figuring out what that is, kind of look at yourself and say, if that person was standing in front of me, how would I speak to them? That's how your emails should be. Definitely recommend during this time at home, maybe doing webinars and researching great ways to get people's attention with email headers, because generally most people will look at the title of the email and decide whether or not they're going to continue to read and open it. One other thing I'll mention, guys, and this is more of a techie thing, but I like to be thorough. You might have somebody who it looks like they're not doing anything. They're not opening your emails, and they are. There's a specific way that the providers in the CRM track open ratios, and it's based on an image. So if somebody, the way that they have their email set up is they might not display images right away. Therefore, they could be opening your emails and you not actually seeing it, or it not reflecting in the ratios. So that's another reason why I kind of just let people stay on the drip campaigns. I kind of just let people stay on the listing, the prospect searches, because I can't really say with 100% certainty that they're not opening it. And honestly, what harm is it? It's probably taking you 10 seconds, 30 seconds at most to set that person up on a drip campaign and a property search. And once that 30 seconds is gone, no big deal, just leave them on it, kind of set it and forget it, and a couple of phone calls here and there. Now, in addition to this, my tips for you is please practice your scripting. Get some role play partners, listen to scripting webinars. We've done it with Michael Samra. There's Prospecting Ninja Group. Listen to all, there's Jerry James is absolutely amazing. He focuses just on online leads. So you want to learn the right scripts to use. You have to be a pro at objection handling if you're going to do online leads. They're going to come up with a whole bunch of things to make you stop talking, but you have to learn how to handle it. One of my other favorites is from Boston. His name is Derek Lipsky. He's on YouTube. I saw Derek, one of his videos like 7 years ago, and he was doing cold calling. The lead hung up on him and he called that person back and still got an appointment. So to me, Derek is like the epitome of how to do online leads, or if you're cold calling a specific area or FSBOs, he's perfect at it. So definitely make sure you look him up as well on YouTube. His videos are still there. The other tip is do not oversell or undersell. This is why it's important, as I've said throughout today's session, to pay attention to that lead's engagement and responsiveness. Sometimes you guys try to oversell, book in an appointment for somebody who's not moving for a year. There's no way that they're gonna wanna meet you. Meeting them is like, hey, I've just met you, let's get married. There's no way to do it. It's way too much too soon. Find out about their situation. Now, when you find out somebody, again, as I said to you with my situation, that I found out somebody told me that they were moving a year or two from now and actually already bought, you also want to make sure you don't undersell. Make sure you're watching what they're doing so you can be there at the right time with the right frequency. Just because you've set somebody up once does not mean it will not change. It should change over the course of the time that they're in your system. All online leads are good leads, guys. Again, you just don't know when they're going to move or who they're going to use to represent them. Now, if you guys, maybe you've done lead generation in the past, maybe you weren't happy with it, I would definitely recommend when it is a good time for you to start doing it again. We do have two amazing lead generation partners. One focuses on, I guess, more listings if you have. We have another one who does absolutely amazing work if you're looking just to get online leads in general. With that, they also have an autopilot drip campaign that includes text messages, that includes the voicemails as well as emails, and it's definitely getting responses, and you will have leads calling you instead of the other way around. So if you guys are interested in any lead gen partners, please come and talk to myself or Lauren, and we can introduce you to a new way of doing online leads. And always check us out, guys. Facebook, we have Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're always on it, always giving little motivations, different tips, and you will always be staying updated on whatever events and trainings that we're doing through our social media platforms. You can also check us out on our website, which is agentmarketingsystem.ca. You guys can email me at support@agentmarketingsystem.ca, or you can go ahead and email me directly. My other email is Rhea, which is RHEA, @agentmarketingsystem.ca. Well, thank you guys. I am going to open it now to anybody who has questions while we are here. So I absolutely love online leads. I'm very passionate about it. So if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. I'm definitely here to help. I honestly have no problem going in, looking at whatever database system, CRM system that you're using, and seeing what tweaks I can help you with. I'm very well versed in all the different CRM systems that are out there. And again, the only good CRM is the one that you are using. So make sure that you use your CRM system. Make sure you're logging in every day. You should be in that system at least 30 minutes to an hour every single day, because that should be your area for your any leads, where your referrals are, your past clients. So you should make sure you're in there all the time and reaching out. All right, guys, I am not seeing any questions at all. Oh, you're welcome, Aneta. And again, if anybody wants a list of the different labels that I use, please don't forget to email me so I can make sure I send it out to you. All right, guys, I guess that is it for now, and hopefully I'll get to talk to you guys soon. And if anyone has questions about Agent Marketing System, you can reach out to me or go to our website.